Well, hello, everyone. Hey, I'm a little bit less late than I was yesterday, and I suppose you have to give me credit for that. I don't know what's happened in the last year. I have always been anal about being on time for everything, and in the last several months, things have just run off the rails. It must be a 2023 thing. But guys, welcome to the stream. We have a fair bit to cover today. Now, let me just take you through the order of things. The biggest thing that I want to talk about today is da da da. So, I had my supporter Zoom call for my supporters on my locals and my Patreon and my Substack yesterday. We do supporter calls every Monday at 7 p.m., every Wednesday at noon. They're awesome. We can talk about whatever we want to talk about. We have a private space. They are unrecorded. It's like a little support group in the midst of daily insanity going on in the world. And as soon as the call started, several people were like, Carlin, you need to listen to the Walt Disney annual shareholder call. And I was like, why? And they're like, because it was crazy. And I don't even specifically remember exactly what they said was crazy, but they pretty much said like the first half hour of this call was crazy. And of course, shareholder calls are when the company updates the shareholders about what's going on, and Disney has not been doing so well lately. Disney's had, well, a couple of challenges. And so they pointed me to this YouTube channel, Valiant Renegade, who I have never listened to before, but that's not surprising. I don't really listen to anyone. And they said, Carlin, watch this on stream. And I was like, but I wanted to keep watching the Texas testimony. They're like, you need to watch this. And so we will be watching. We were going to be returning to the Texas testimony for the bill to ban gender modification surgery for minors. We started that last week. We got a couple hours into it. There are many more hours to go, but it was a really good stream. I do want to keep going with it, but I want to watch this now because it's more timely, and then we can go and do the Texas testimony tomorrow. All right. So that's the main thing we're going to be doing today, guys. But there's a couple of other things I want to talk about, if you will, indulge. So the first thing I want to talk about is, can I just tell you guys? I just tell you, I am so sick of conservatives making excuses for why they can't go to rallies and protests. I have been hearing the same damn excuses for 3 years. Now, I found out a couple of interesting things today. Well, maybe one specifically interesting thing. So I found out, actually, let me see if I can get it up on the screen for you so I can show you explicitly what I found out. And while I'm doing that, so for those who are not familiar with my backstory, I basically got started in this space because in early 2020, in February of 2020, right before the pandemic, I wrote an art. I was a Democrat for 20 years, and I went to a Trump rally, and I wrote an article about going to that Trump rally, thinking that no one would ever read it. And I posted it on Medium. And I was just like, okay, that's that. The next day, it went massively viral on the internet, and like 4 million people read it. And that was what kind of launched me into this space. And after that, I got involved with the walkaway movement. I saw Naruto. Hang on. I got involved with the walkaway movement. And so the walkaway movement was about getting Democrats to leave the party. Now it's only about shilling Democrats into the conservative funnel. It wasn't like that when I was involved. It was literally just about getting the Democrats getting Democrats to walk away from the Democratic Party, and wherever you went after that was your business. Right. So I was traveling around the country with Walkaway all over the place, doing rallies every single weekend during the pandemic for 6 months. And let me tell you what, there was I did dozens of these rallies. And at the vast majority of those rallies, no one showed up. And I'm not talking no one like Like, the most successful rally that they had besides there was a big one in Washington, D.C. that had, like, 4,000 people at it, that was pretty good. The most successful one besides that was a rally in Beverly Hills where there were about 1,000 people there, which is pretty great. Every other rally had maybe a couple dozen people there. No one was showing up for these things. And so that was always really perturbing to me because I was like, I was actually trying to do the right thing. I was like, I don't like the Democratic Party. I want people to wake up and leave the Democratic Party. That's why I am leaving my family and getting on a plane and going somewhere every single weekend. I literally gave up every weekend for 6 goddamn months. And even though we were out there doing stuff, conservatives refused to show up. They refused. They would RSVP, they would tweet about it, and then when it came time for them to actually show up for an hour of their time on the weekend or occasionally after work on a Friday, they refused to do it. And following that, and this was very consistent with like every single rally, whether it was Chicago or Philadelphia or Nashville or Phoenix or Milwaukee, etc., etc., etc. There would be a flood of emails saying, "Oh, I'm really sorry I couldn't make it to the rally. I had to mow my lawn." I'm not exaggerating about that. So there were people that were trying to rally people during 2020, trying to do something leading up to the presidential election. And it was completely and totally unsupported by the conservative right. And now I partially know why. Because I, for the last couple of days, have been tweeting about this problem because this was not just a problem in 2020. This is a consistent problem where conservatives, and this is one of the reasons that I shit on conservatives so much because it is so infuriating to me. Conservatives consistently yell about freedom and our country is being taken over and we need to fight back and 1776, etc., 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 etc. And then they don't do anything. They expect other people to do everything for them, and they make excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse about why they can't go, except if it's a Trump rally. We're going to talk about that in a second. But back to why no conservatives were showing up for these rallies that were being held all over the country every single weekend for 6 months. I got this tweet today from this guy named Sam. Sam is someone I tweet with rather regularly. He's a conservative. Sam said, "I was an organizer in Maine for the GOP in 2020. So I said I spoke at dozens of rallies almost every weekend in 2020. When conservatives didn't want to go, they would say, I have to mow my lawn. Don't tell me you're not showing up because you have jobs. You don't show up when you're not working." Because this is the other thing is the main excuse that conservatives give when they don't show up to things is, well, we have jobs. Democrats don't have jobs. We have jobs. That's why we can't show up to things. We have jobs, which is a bizarre excuse in the first place because let's just be blunt. Conservatives are also afraid of getting fired from their jobs if they say anything that's remotely conservative. So they're afraid if they wear a MAGA hat, they're going to get fired from their job. They're afraid if they go to a rally, allegedly, they're going to get fired from their job. They're afraid if they wear a t-shirt, they're going to get fired from their job. How on earth would they get fired from their jobs if their boss wasn't a Democrat? So you're going to tell me Democrats don't have jobs except you're afraid of getting fired from your job because your boss is a Democrat? Makes no sense. Anyway, so I was tweeting about this and Sam responded, and I swear this does actually have to do with what I was just talking about. "I was an organizer in Maine for the GOP in 2020. This is accurate, but I'll say the people would drop anything to show up for Trump himself because he's so unique and beloved. The Democrats actually pay people to go out door knocking and campaign where the GOP pretends. Oh, that's not actually the one I wanted. And this is true enough. They can just get people signed up as volunteers. That's not actually the one that I wanted from Sam. There was another one. I'm sorry, guys. One sec. I should have had this together. I should have had this more together. Hang on. I have another one from Sam. And this is actually really important, which is why I'm taking the time to find it. Where the heck did it go? Okay, let's go into Sam's replies because I know that he did it. I know that he sent it to me. Oh, here it is. Found it. Okay, so Sam says, another fun thing about the GOP, they actively opposed efforts in 2020 to protest. They opposed reopen protests. They forced their workers and volunteers to wear masks. They disallowed us to work with outside groups like Walkaway to rally people. What do you think about that? The GOP, I had no idea about this until like this morning. I was tweeting about something else and then this just happened to come up. The GOP in 2020 actively did not allow their organizers, the people who were out in the field, to work with outside organizations like Walkaway to hold rallies. You're telling me these people want to win? You're telling me these people care about the future of the country and are fighting for freedom? Please. But the bigger point I want to make is I am so sick and tired of this excuse from conservatives. We can't go to rallies because we have jobs, and Democrats only go to rallies because they don't have jobs. We have jobs, Carlin. Do you want us to lose our jobs? Well, the most difficult and time-consuming rally to go to is a Trump rally. If you have never been to a Trump rally, here is how it works for most people, unless you're like on the VIP list, which is super nice, by the way, when you're on the VIP list. It makes things so much easier. But here's how it works for an average Trump rally. You have to show up really early in the morning or even the night before and camp out and get in line. Then you wait around in line all effing day. Then they finally let you in and you get into the arena or wherever it's at an airport or whatever. And then you wait around for several more hours. We are talking a good 8 to 10 hour commitment of just waiting around before anything has even started. Then you start the rally and people speak before Trump. Then Trump comes on and he speaks for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then you all go home. The most difficult, time-consuming rally to go to is a Trump rally by far. Going to the type of rally I was speaking at in 2020 was like an hour-long commitment tops. There was no line to wait in. There was no security. There was no waiting around. You literally just went, you heard some speakers for an hour, you go rah, 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 yay, yay, yay. You take some pictures and you go home and that's it. But for a Trump rally, this is actually a real commitment. So here's what I put out today. It takes far more effort to go to a Trump rally than any other rally. You have to wait around all day in line, and then you wait around for hours once you're in. The reason conservatives can do this and make this commitment to go to a Trump rally is because they don't have jobs. There's no other explanation. And of course, when I put this out, what excuse did I hear? Well, Carolyn, they take time off for a Trump rally. Oh. So you're telling me that you can take time off for a Trump rally? It's totally possible to take time off for a Trump rally, but you can't take time off of work for any other type of rally ever. Well, we have jobs, Carlin. We have jobs. We'll get fired. I swear to God, this is the conversation every single time this topic comes up. It is infuriating for people who are actually out there doing things. We see through the excuses very, 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 very clearly. They're all excuses. And so far as I'm concerned, if you are not willing to spend an hour on your weekend going to a rally, you do not actually care about fighting for anything. And I'm just going to call, I mean, I've always been calling a spade, but I am not coddling this bullshit for 1 second longer. If you are unwilling to take 1 hour of your time to go to a rally, you do not really care about fighting for anything. You are a coward. You are lazy. You are a waste of energy. And you are someone that, quite frankly, should be shunned by every single person who is actually trying to make progress. And if you don't like how that feels, facts don't care about your feelings. See, Hallie, we just talked about this. We just talked about this. Other people work too. Stop making these excuses. It is fucking ridiculous. You do not work on the weekends. It is so predictable that I would have a conservative come in my chat and instantly, we have jobs, which is exactly how they say it, by the way. They get exactly that tone of voice. We have jobs. Democrats don't have jobs. We have jobs. Except that you're afraid of getting fired from your jobs by Democrats for expressing a political opinion, which inherently means that Democrats have jobs, except that Democrats quite literally control every major institution in this country. They control literally everything. How on earth do they control everything if they don't have jobs? This makes no sense. Stop making fucking excuses. You are just being lazy, and you are expecting other people to fight for your freedom and to do things that you are damn unwilling to do yourself. It is infuriating. I don't want to hear this excuse ever, ever again. See, this is a person that is an example of a lazy person. Yeah, we have jobs. I'm sure this person's going to go back to work now at their job that no one else has a job except for this person. That doesn't matter because we won't be hearing from them anymore. You announce your departure on my channel and you won't be coming back. Facts don't care about your feelings, conservatives. Facts do not care about your feelings. If you can get fired from your job for expressing a political opinion, that means you work for a Democrat. And if you work for a Democrat, then how can you possibly say that you have a job and Democrats don't? Because you literally work for one. And not only do they have a job, they have a better job than you do. They have a more high-powered job than you do. So stop making fucking excuses. Stop making fucking excuses about why you can't do something. Because nothing will ever change. Hallie, I've had enough with the excuses. If you keep making excuses, I'm going to block you. I'm not fucking around any longer. The time that I have spent coddling this for 3 years 3 solid years, I have been coddling this attitude of everyone else has to do stuff for us, but conservatives can't do shit because we have jobs. Does everyone understand this? Is there any more argument? Or are we going to acknowledge that not only do Democrats have jobs, but Democrats usually have better jobs than conservatives, which is how they control every major goddamn institution in this country. And they're still willing to go out and fight for what they want. And that is why they win and conservatives lose every goddamn time. And I promise you, conservatives, if you don't change your fucking attitudes, you're going to keep losing elections, and I'm going to cheer it every single time. I will laugh every single time you lose and then whine and make excuses for why you couldn't do something to actually fight back. It is infuriating, and it is insulting to every single person who organizes those rallies, who shows up for those rallies, who takes time out of their schedule to put on those rallies. It is infuriating. There is no reason for this. If you are unwilling to do what is required to win, then you deserve to lose. And you will have done it for yourself. No one did it to you. No one forced you to mow your lawn instead of going to a rally. No one forced you to take time off for the Trump rally, but not any other type of rally. No one forced you to RSVP for a rally that you had no intention of going to because you decided you had to mow your lawn or didn't feel like leaving your easy chair because you wanted to watch the game. There are other people that are spending their entire effing lives fighting for you, and you are unwilling to show up for an hour, and then you make every excuse in the book about why you can't. You do not deserve people helping you. You don't deserve it. And that's why you lose. So that is my little rant on that topic. And I got to tell you guys, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm really not. I'm really not. I did my time coddling these attitudes. And I made a decision last night that I don't feel like coddling this bullshit anymore. No. No, Hallie, you don't. No, you don't. Really? You're going to claim you do better on a communal level? Really? Who controls all your schools? You've watched my channel a long time, Hallie. Who controls all the schools? You do better on a communal level? If you don't want to face reality, then there is absolutely nothing that anyone can do to help you. So that's all I have to say about that. Let's do some super chats. Naruto says, Carlin, are you going to get the not guilty mugshot shirt? No, I am not going to give Trump and or the Republican Party any money to get a t-shirt of Trump saying not guilty with a mugshot. No, I am not, Naruto. And I don't really have thoughts about Trump's arraignment today, to be honest. I think the whole thing is stupid. There are things that I would much prefer to put my energy into. Naruto says the mob comes for all of us eventually. Well, yeah, and the mob will absolutely come for conservatives because conservatives have done nothing to push back against them. Absolutely nothing, and expect everyone else to fight for them. I appreciate the super chat, Naruto. Let's see. What else do we got? Also from Naruto, I found out today that apparently I don't exist. Disabled Republican voter in a red state on welfare. Well, congratulations on that, Naruto. And then emphasize, I haven't seen you in a minute, emphasize, the bourgeois loves to watch the fighting. Well, I am not coddling this bullshit, emphasize. I'm not. You are fucking lazy. You are lazy. If you don't want me to point out that you are lazy, then stop being fucking lazy. and actually go and do something of value. It's real simple. I have given you checklists of things to do. I've given you instructions of things to do. I have done thousands, literally thousands of videos telling you things to do. I have written hundreds of articles giving you things to do. I wrote you a whole book about things to do. And what I get instead is whining. So if you're going to whine instead of doing anything productive and then blame me for pointing out that you are whining, you're the one causing the problem. I'm sorry. You have any number of resources that you could utilize, and you are choosing not to. All right, let's move on. That's my little rant about that. It feels good to get that out of my system. Another thing I want to talk about before we get into the main show is check this out. Hallie, you're a nice lady, Hallie, but I'm going to say this really slowly, and I know that you're smart enough to understand it. Attending a rally or a protest is how you organize on a grassroots level. If you are unwilling to attend a rally or a protest, you are not organizing on a grassroots level. I know you didn't intend to troll me, and I know that you're a supporter, but you have got to stop making these excuses. You are saying things that are not hinged into reality. This is not real. It is not true in any way that conservatives are winning on a community level. That is not true in any fucking way. Who controls the schools? Not conservatives. I truly don't know what to say. I truly don't know why conservatives have this block in their head where they cannot get it through their thick fucking skulls that if you don't show up to things, it does not work. You will not win. If you stay home and sit on your couch and watch the baseball game or mow your lawn, you are not going to win. You are not going to organize on a grassroots level. If you are quite literally doing nothing, I, can someone please explain this to me? Why conservatives have this mental block where they truly think that they can organize on a grassroots level and not do anything? A Million Ways to Die in the West is a safer bet. I have no fucking idea what that means, Emphasize. Thank you for the super chat, I guess. Emphasize likes to be a dick by sending a super chat, just so people know. He's been doing this for a really long time. Vashel says, any advice for getting stuff done when sudden midday sleepiness hits? I don't know, man. Take a nap. Take a 20-minute nap and then get up and try again. I guess would be my best advice. Maybe take a meditation break. I think that would be the best. Let me just see. I would not recommend doing this. You don't protest your employer. See, this is, again, Hallie, I literally write about this in my book, Hallie. You don't protest your employer because that really will get you fired. Most people will not get fired for going to a rally. People will get fired for protesting their employers. This is not a good idea. You guys have to look at context. If you want to do it, go ahead. I don't think that's a good idea. Employers do not like it when their employees protest them. Give it a try if you want, but I don't think it's going to have the results that it could have. And I think your time would be far better spent going to a rally or a protest around a community activity that impacts a lot more people than just your employer, which is probably only a 1-hour training that you have to attend once and never again. Literally write about it in my book. Literally do. Nurtu says it's a Seth MacFarlane movie. Oh, I don't know what that is. Sorry. All right. So here's the other thing I wanted to talk about. So this happened over the weekend, and this is hilarious. So my friend Nico's been on the channel a couple times, so admittedly not in a while. So if you're relatively new to the channel, Nico hasn't been on in a while just because I haven't really been doing guests lately. I guess emphasize, I don't really know what to say. So I haven't really been doing guests lately, so he hasn't been around. But Nico's cool. Nico is a leftist, but he's like he's sane. He was a Tulsi guy in 2020. And he's just like a really reasonable guy. And so he hates AOC. Hates her with a passion. He doesn't like a lot of people. You can see he is not the biggest fan of Joe Biden in the world. And so the other day, Nico accidentally discovered AOC's burner account. So a burner account on Twitter is like an anonymous account that you don't use your real name and photo on it. And so like you can use it to spy on people, you can use it to shit talk people, you can use it to troll people. I mean, I think that people are only like really like I think there's some sort of like if you're going to troll people, be a fucking man and do it from your main account. That's my principle. I don't have any burner accounts that I actually tweet from, contrary to popular belief. I have a bunch of burner accounts. I don't use any of them to actually tweet because I think if you're going to say something, then you should have the balls to have it be from your own mouth. But apparently, no, I don't use my burner accounts to troll people. That's actually the truth. Anyone can look at the burner accounts that people know about and see there ain't a single tweet from them. Never was. But Nico accidentally discovered that AOC has a burner account. Well, had a burner account. So here's what happened. Nico was responding to AOC. AOC tweeted out this video where she met libs of TikTok and she was like, I don't even want to be in the same space as you, libs of TikTok. I don't want to be in the same space. You are a horrible transphobic person. And so AOC was, of course, having a moment of her most righteous. And then she tweeted it out and she said, you bet I did. New York City doesn't play with bigots and transphobes, and neither do I. Have a nice day. And then Nico responded to that, and he said, but you vote to send money to Nazis and fund the Israeli apartheid, but hey, you stood up to a TikTok star. And then this random account, Zaza Demon, at Zaza Smoka, with a anime icon. They always have anime icons. This random account replied to Nico as though Nico had just replied and was talking to the random account instead of to AOC. And this random account said, LOL, and what makes you think that I did anything to support Nazis? You're delusional. Seek help. Now, this was, well, confusing to Nico because Nico's like, I wasn't talking to you, Zaza. I was talking to AOC. Why are you responding to me as though I'm responding to you? And then Zaza deleted the tweet, almost as if the person who sent that tweet from the Zaza account did not mean to send the tweet in the first place. And so then Nico figured out, let me see. He said, "Yo, AOC has burned accounts." I responded to one of her posts reminding her that she sends money to Nazis, and some random account responded to me speaking in the first person as if I attacked them. And then that same person deleted the tweets. And then that person also blocked Nico. And then, well, this is another thing where Zaza apparently is short for Alexander or Alexandria. And there was other stuff too. Let me see if I can find some of it in the thread. Let me see. It was a brand new account that they had like just created. And when you looked for Zaza Smoka, because okay, so the Zaza account, the entire account has since been deleted. Why would you delete an entire account if it wasn't AOC? And then if you search in the Google search for that Zaza account, guess what? It comes up linked to AOC's account. Now, why might that be? Because on Twitter, both on the app on your phone and in the browser, you can be logged in under multiple accounts at the same time. No, Phil, it was deactivated the other day. I'll look it up right now. You got to make sure it's so Phil, a lot of or Kino, sorry, a lot of people started creating fake accounts with the same name. But let me look. Nope, it's not up. I just checked. So the reason that these accounts would be linked is if a person like AOC was logged into multiple accounts on their phone. Phil, no, it's not. Oh, I don't have the extra A. Let me see. Oh, it's back. It is back. You're right, Phil. Okay, you're back. You're right. It's back. It's back. It was deleted for a time. I typed it in. I wasn't following my own advice. My bad. My bad. So anyway, and it's still retweeting AOC. So anyway, I had to share that story. It's hilarious. AOC has a burner account and she's pretending that it's not her. And it was accidentally discovered by Nico, who did us all a great service. And Alex Stein is now following it. It now has 4,000 followers on Twitter. Oh my God. Amazing. Amazing. What a time to be alive. I know. I owe you $2, Phil. It's true. I owe a Kino is right super chat. You can take it out of my balance. All right, guys, we are going to start listening to this Disney call right quick now that I've gotten a few other stories out of my system. But before we get into the Disney shareholder call, just a couple of things. Now, I will be launching the Unwoke art contest on unwokeart.substack.com later today. I was hoping to launch it earlier, but I was trying to create an image and it took longer than I thought it would. So it is going to be launched later today. And basically, what the Unwoke art contest is I'm going to put out some concepts like struggle session, like cancel mob, like white supremacy. And what I want you to do is to use your AI art tool of choice. And you could do real stuff. If you want to paint or draw and do like a hand done thing, you can do that too. Totally allowed. We're not discriminating here against your art medium of choice. But if you don't want to and you want to do it a little bit faster, use your AI art tool of choice. And quite frankly, even if you are a traditional artist, I would encourage you to play around with AI because I think it can be really inspirational for traditional artists as well to use as references or to use for creative brainstorming or things like that. So I would encourage you to try it if you haven't. There are so many tools out there you can use. There are dozens, if not like hundreds of AI art tools at this point. Some are free, some are paid. A lot of them you can get credits, all that stuff. But basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to give you some concepts and I'm going to say, make an image that represents this concept. And it's going to be a little bit like a creative brainstorm. And then what we're going to do is we're going to vote on which ones we like the best for each category. And the winners are going to get a gift certificate to my Unwoke art store so they can get a t-shirt or a water bottle or a mug or whatever they want. And if they want to put their image on a piece of merch, or they can put it in their own store as well, if they want to do it in their own store, that's totally cool. I would absolutely be open to that. And I think it's going to be fun. The whole point of this is to have fun and to engage in some creativity and to look at these concepts in different ways. And what do I mean when I say concept? Well, I made this image earlier, and again, I was hoping to have it done for the start of the stream, but I just didn't get to it. So if I were to create an image demonstrating the two-party system in America, I might create an image of Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell having a drink and toasting each other and laughing at their old school conquest of the political world. Because there's not a two-party system, there is a one-party system, and both parties are a member of that one-party system. And I think we all need to acknowledge that. And so I created this image as a representation of the idea of a two-party system. So does everyone understand what I mean when I say create an image that represents a concept? I can't wait to see what people come up with. I want to see what people come up with for struggle session, for cancel mob, for white supremacy, for I don't know. We'll come up with a bunch of different prompts that people can use and have fun with it. You can try all sorts of different things. You can try all sorts of different styles. This is a photorealistic style, but you can use cartoons, you can use watercolors, you can use acrylic, oil, you can use fancy neon things. Like you can come up with whatever you want. And just as long as you're illustrating a concept, that's all that really matters. So that's going to be launching later today on my Unwoke Art Substack, which is unwokeart.substack.com. And when I launch that, I'm also going to be cross-posting it to my main Substack, which is carlin.substack.com, which is my home base for all of my Unwoke content. Now, I did make a little change to my main Substack last night. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more tomorrow, I think, or in a separate video. But essentially, the change that I decided to make to my Substack, and you can read about it in this announcement thread, is that I am going to be putting up a paywall on my Substack. There are several reasons for this. Number one, well, the most important reason, I'll just give you the top level reason. I have been doing a lot of original journalism in the past 3 months. Not everything I do is original journalism. Sometimes I'm curating news stories from other places because I think they're important. But I have been doing a lot of original journalism and reporting on stories that no one else is reporting on. And on more than one occasion, I have had major media outlets as well as conservative influencers stealing my work, pawning it off as their own, and then using my work to create outrage clickbait content that they use to build their own platforms. And they never credit me and they never acknowledge it. And when I call them out, they pretend that they didn't steal my work, even though I was the only one fucking reporting on it. The idea obviously came from me. Now, I can deal with a lot of bullshit. I can deal with getting nasty notes from conservatives every single time I write something they don't want to hear. I can deal with people making fun of the work I'm doing, which happens all the time. What I start to get a little bit pissed off about is when I'm spending 10 to 15 hours a day working on something and major media organizations are stealing my journalism, calling it their own, and never crediting me for the work that I'm doing. It's infuriating. And influencers and other content creators do it too. And then they use my work to grow their platforms. And I'm like doing all this work until 2 or 3 in the morning just to have it stolen by other people. And I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of it. So I've decided to put up a paywall on my Substack. This makes me a little bit sad because I do want my work to be available for everyone. But the fact of the matter is that I need to actually be able to, make a living. And if other people are stealing my work, it makes it very, very difficult for me to make a living based off publishing that content because you can just get it somewhere else for free or to have people turn it into outrage. I'm not going to say that Fox News is one of the organizations that has blatantly stolen my journalism and run it on their network without crediting me. But Fox News is one of the organizations that has blatantly stolen my journalism and run it on their network without crediting me. I'm not going to say that the Daily Wire is one of the organizations that has stolen my journalism without crediting me. But the Daily Wire has blatantly stolen my journalism on more than one occasions and run it on their network without crediting me. I'm not saying the Blaze has stolen my journalism and run it on their network without crediting me, but you get the idea. I don't know why it's so hard for people to credit me for my work when there are so many stories that have gone viral on the internet only because I reported on them first. This has been going on for a really long time, and it's not going to go on anymore. And if these organizations are going to blatantly steal my shit, they can at least pony up $5 a month to support the work I'm doing. So, guys, I'm sorry if this pisses people off. I'm sorry if this upsets people. But it is the way it just needs to be for right now. So, in order to access the full content on my Substack moving forward, you're going to either have to pay to be a member of my Substack, or you can pay to be in my locals community, or you can pay to be in my Patreon. And I'll reevaluate this in a couple of months. But that's the way it's going to be for right now. And if you are really in a position where you cannot afford to pay for it, to pay $5, get in touch with me and let me know, and I will take care of that. But if you can support my work, I'm asking you to do it because I have a lot of things that I want to accomplish this year, and I cannot do them without people financially supporting my work. I very purposefully do not work with big organizations. I do not work with them because I don't want to be beholden to them and their political bias. I very purposefully, though I do have access to big donors who could fund my work, I don't want to take large checks from them because, again, then I'm beholden to them and what they want. I want to be beholden to you. I want to be beholden to telling you the truth and to showing you receipts. And that's it. And so I hope that people will continue to fund my work. And I do have some stuff planned to post on the Substack in the next couple of days. And I appreciate everyone's understanding. And I'm going to be honest, the response that I've gotten from my community about this has actually been really good. People who are supporting my work and have been around for a while understand the problem because, quite frankly, most of the time it's you guys telling me that people are stealing my work. It's you guys saying, Carlin, did you see this? Or Carlin, I saw this video that they're reporting on your story, or this, that, or the other thing. So I know that my most loyal supporters completely understand why I'm doing this. Um, and I wish it didn't have to be this way. But this is apparently the world we live in, and I do really appreciate you guys understanding. All right, let's get into the main event, shall we? Please mount that like button if you have not already. We are going to be listening to the Walt Disney annual meeting of shareholders. We're not going to listen to the full 3 hours. I am told that all of the fireworks happen in like the first half hour or so. And so that's what we're going to listen to. Mount that like button if you're ready to get started. If you are watching on Rockfin or Rumble or Odyssey or any other place that I'm streaming on right now, I really do appreciate you guys watching me on alternative platforms. Over on Rumble, Freud, I think, says $5 a month is totally worth all the reporting you do. I signed up a few months ago. I really do appreciate that, guys. I promise I'm going to give you your $5 worth if there's anything I do. I hate asking people for money when I'm not giving them their money's worth. So I promise that. All right. So let's get started and let's see. Bob, I can't do the full 3 hours. Relax. Uh Kino, did you say that I needed to fast forward to about 40 minutes in? Let me know in the chat. We're going to get started and we'll see. Well, we're certainly not watching their
presentation
countdown.
And about 30 minutes of Q&A. So in other words, the presentation for this is about twice the length of that of an earnings call, a typical quarterly earnings.
I kind of like the idea of watching this guy's introduction to this just to give us some context and a good lay of the land. If you watched this yesterday, please let me know your thoughts and let me know what we should expect.
Earnings call for the Walt Disney Company. And this presentation does usually
Welcome,
come
Julie.
with video and graphics, and this is going to be a little bit more visually appealing than a quarterly earnings call for Disney, which is usually kind of just a bland,
okay, so they're saying
singular
about 40 minutes
screen
in.
with very little.
Okay,
you know,
I would like. I'm seeing that you guys are telling me it's about 40 minutes in, but I want to watch the intro and to have this guy explain what's going on. Okay, because I think that's going to give context for everyone about what we're seeing. So relax, calm down. We're gonna get there.
Movement from start to finish. So in any case, we are expecting, again, hopefully some big news here, one way or the other. We've got the Disney layoffs that have happened. We've got the future of the MCU. We've got the future potentially of Star Wars and Lucasfilm. There may be some announcement or at least some guidance towards
Did
that,
he really?
as rumors have seemingly swirled around the fact that
All
Star
these
Wars
people are such
Celebration, which
posers.
kicks off in just a couple of days from now, is
Yeah, that's a good idea,
perhaps
Sin.
going to see an announcement, official Disney announcement of a big Star Wars cinematic revitalization, I guess, as it were. It's been 6 years since anything of Star Wars even got into pre-production at Lucasfilm, and I know Bob Iger is trying to change that now. That, again, as we've covered before, has really been one of the biggest black eyes that he's had since being at Disney, is how badly that $4 billion IP has kind of hit a brick wall and then disappeared, with the exception of, just kind of being there on Disney Plus. Not much going on. And now with Mando season 3 struggling in the ratings, they've got to do something. But we have some guests backstage, my partners in crime, especially when it comes to investigative journalism and business and entertainment analysis. I want to welcome them onto the stream right now from thatparkplace.com. Welcome aboard WDW Pro and Jonas J. Campbell. Gentlemen, both with YouTube channels, and please make sure that you are subbed to them. But
I think there should be a rule that if you are not willing to be on camera, you should not get to have a YouTube channel. Like, pony up, put your damn face on camera. I mean, come on, folks. I don't think I'm asking too much.
enough of you have already subbed to Pro. You can stop.
Well played. Well played. Hey, wait a minute. We've got memberships. Don't leave yet, folks.
Okay, sign up for his damn memberships, and then we can go from there.
I mean, this Thursday. So how are we looking today? What's our outlook so far for Disney?
Let me just kind of pull this up. I have it muted because I am not making this mistake again. I have gotten pwned on YouTube by Disney for hold
Peruvian
music,
flute bands,
literally Peruvian flute bands. So I am not playing this right now, and there is nothing going on here. I'm going to show everybody here if my mouse is going to decide to cooperate now, which of course it never wants to. This is where we are. Okay, that we got.
Oh no, not that.
Oh,
No,
there's
Not
video.
actual Disney copyright.
We got hold music. So thank you to the 400 people that are tuned in right now. I do want to say, so I can make it clear to my audience real quick, and then Jonas and Pro, I want your thoughts. Here we've got about 10 minutes before this starts, but I want to say very quickly, just for those of you out there wondering, I hate streaming over dear friends. And I know we've got Midnight's Edge in the morning going on right now. I talked to Tom a few days ago. I talked to Andre early this morning, late last night, depending on whose time zone you want to pick, mine or Norway's. They're cool with it. They understand that this is what it is. In fact, Andre and I even privately joked and both agreed that we can legitimately blame the mouse for this one. So that is where we are. So I don't want to take anybody away from Midnight's Edge, but if you are here, we appreciate you being here. And again, not something I normally like to do, but obviously I didn't set the schedule for this one. When I thought this, when I saw April 3rd on a Monday, I'd kind of forgotten that they do these annual meetings middle of the day. I'm so used to thinking after market hours, 4:30 p.m. Central or 4:30 p.m. Eastern, excuse me. I figured we'd be way out of the line for Midnight's Edge, but right smack in the middle of their show.
Well, Valiant, I know that you never miss a Midnight's Edge live stream. So I'm just curious, which monitor are you playing it in simultaneously right now?
Right now, I'm not. I just want to make sure.
I mean, I generally find that if someone is super chatting, these people don't really care what they're saying. Like, I mean, it's just like, money is the way to most YouTubers' hearts. I think you know that probably better than anyone.
Sure, I've got enough bandwidth coming through for StreamYard and for this live stream. And yeah, I'm even though people don't see me in the chat because I'm usually not active, I'm usually sitting at my desk, but I'm actually listening to Midnight's Edge a lot more often than may seem apparent. I'm lurking, as it were, but I'm usually at my desk or on the phone with clients, but it's usually running. So almost 500 of you watching now. So thank you for being here again. Annual meeting starts in about 8 minutes. So
notice they have Elemental. They have Elemental on there. They have Baby Yoda on their logo for this. They have the new live action Little Mermaid.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Maybe we aren't going to get any context. I'm just going to fast forward till we start listening to the call. They're just getting a crew people in there.
Right. That's what happened.
They're just basically shooting the shit.
Through 7 that are on the docket. Will they be voting on those?
Did it start?
Free to hit that little thumbs up, and it does more help than you can imagine. And this is compliance statement. And share this out, please. Hit the share button.
Anybody that's got a
Dear age relives fond memories
so
of the past.
Thank you, Tripping Orc, for gifting 5 channel memberships.
Let's see how much of the new stuff they show versus going way back.
Yeah.
Of the future.
Yeah, sequel
Trilogy.
trilogy.
Any of the new Star Wars stuff there.
I mean, look, if we get demonetized over this, so be it.
Oh, blah, 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 blah. Music. I'm killing the music. Okay, so listen. I can usually just, every single time this happens, because this happens to me quite frequently, I can just fair use that shit, and it gets dropped. This happens all the time with those TikTok videos that those teachers use in their trainings. They can't, though. It's fair use. It's blatant, obvious fair use. It will get denied. But I'll mute it for now. Which is so stupid. Of all the problems Disney has, they're coming after YouTube people for showing publicly available information. Come on.
The board of the Walt Disney Company, Susan Arnold.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. It's my pleasure
That is
to
a
welcome
horrible
you to
And
the
she
Walt
will be
Disney
passing the torch
Company's
today to Mark
annual
Parker.
shareholder meeting. We're fortunate to have you as shareholders, especially during this historic year for the company as we celebrate Disney's 100th anniversary. Your belief in and support of this company has played a key role in Disney's enduring success. We're pleased to welcome Bob Iger back to this meeting as CEO of the Walt Disney Company. And as you'll hear from him shortly, there are so many exciting things in the works from the creative teams across the company. Today, we'll provide you with highlights of some of what we've accomplished over the past year.
It's true.
As well as a preview of what you can look forward to.
Stay tuned.
We'll hear from Bob about his vision and priorities for the company. Our general counsel, Horacio Gutierrez, is designated to conduct the business portion of our meeting. And after that, we'll be happy to take your questions.
Mr. Gutierrez is Disney's chief lawyer.
To Bob, I'd also like to acknowledge our other independent directors, all of whom are with us today. Mary Barra, Safra Katz, Amy Chang, Francis D'Souza, Carolyn Everson, Michael Froman, Mel Lagamasino, Calvin McDonald, Derica Rice, and
Mike, I feel
Mark
like we've
Parker,
talked about these
who will
people
become our
before.
next chairman following
Slightly.
today's meeting.
Vaguely in my memory.
Mark is a very
Mark
well-respected
Parker.
leader who's uniquely positioned to chair the Disney board during this
That helps
period of
with China.
transformation.
Yep, they are
He's
passing the
already
torch to
been hard
Parker.
at work as chair of our succession planning committee, which is in the process of helping the board with its work of identifying and preparing a successful CEO successor. As I wrap up my final duties as Disney's chairman, I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our shareholders,
Sausage King of
employees,
Chicago.
cast members, and my fellow board members. I was a lifelong Disney fan long before I joined the board, and some of my most cherished memories from when my children were young are the trips we took to Walt Disney World. I'll always treasure the memories that Disney created for my family, just like millions of other families around the world. It's been an absolute honor and privilege to serve on the board of the most beloved name in entertainment these past 15 years. I have enormous confidence in this board and in the leadership of this company, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for Disney. Thank you and enjoy the meeting.
Thank you, Susan. On behalf of all of us at Disney, I want to express how grateful we are for your 15 years of tremendous service to our company. I'm here in the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida. As we celebrate the company's 100th anniversary this year, I can't tell you how great it is to be back at Disney and to join you from this very special spot. This has always been one of my favorite places.
Can't tell you how great it was to
so
shank
much
Bob
of the vision and
Chapek
imagination
there.
that has entertained our audiences and guests for the past
That was the
century.
Josh D'Amaro trip.
Just
where we
over
were at,
50 years ago,
220,
everything you
whatever
see
that
around me
restaurant
was
is.
remote pasture
Same
and
close.
swampland.
I
And there were
mean,
many who thought Walt's plans for this
I like
park were
Epcot
simply
Center the
too
best,
ambitious.
if I'm honest about it.
After all, Walt himself said building Walt Disney World would be the most exciting and challenging assignment the company had ever tackled.
Except for the city they
And
never
yet,
built
thanks
after he
to
died.
those who dared to dream and those who dared to make those dreams into reality, here we are. When you're in a place like this, it's hard not to feel the childlike wonder captured in so much of what we do at Disney. Our parks are a place where everyone feels welcome. And being here, meeting our guests, some who are visiting for the first time, and others who first visited as children and are now bringing their own
Okay, so I'm getting notification that in this part, all they're doing is announcing like upcoming attractions. And so I think that I want to try to fast forward to the 40-minute mark where people are saying the action really begins. There's the rock. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
understanding, respect, and optimism, and why Disney strives to incorporate those ideals into everything we do. It is such a privilege to be part of an institution that brings joy to so many people around the world, both to the young, and as Walt liked to say, to the young at heart. We're grateful to you, our shareholders, for your continued confidence in our business and vision. And as we build on 100 years of creativity and forge a path into the future, I am confident that Disney's brightest days are yet to come. With that, I will now turn things over to Horacio Gutierrez, Senior Executive Vice President and General
Was
Counsel,
as good as Disney
to
could have
conduct the
possibly
business
done.
portion of our
Absolutely.
meeting. Over to you, Horacio.
Real quick, folks, I can't control the volume variance with StreamYard, and I know it's kind of a pain. I can't delineate that here. I wish I could.
See?
And also,
I
we're
have
going to be
that
fair.
problem
When
too.
Disney says good stuff, we're going to compliment it, and we're also going to talk about all the other stuff they're doing. Don't worry, I've paused it, and we're going to go back right now. Thank you for being here. 1,100 watching, almost 1,200. Smash the like, share it out on Twitter and Facebook, social medias. We appreciate you.
And following the instructions there. Copies of the rules for the meeting were provided on the virtual meeting website.
This is administrative stuff. They're going to talk about now. Horacio Gutierrez is going to talk about right now. He's going into all the compliance disclosure. You're not missing anything right now. He is going to talk about all of the shareholder initiatives. He is probably going to bring up the Nelson Peltz thing as a this happened, but now it's been settled. Any other shareholder initiatives that needed to be voted on by shareholders or by proxy at this point, whether an individual or by an institutional, like a mutual fund company, think BlackRock, think Vanguard, think American Funds, T. Rowe Price, so on and so forth. This is what they're going to go through now. A lot of these things have already been decided on, if not every single one of them. Okay, before the meeting, they're just going to announce results. Here we go.
Outstanding shares present today and voting.
Thank you, Mr. Gutierrez. As of the close of business on February 8th, 2023,
This is their auditor.
the record date for this meeting, there were 1,826,825,064 shares of common stock outstanding, each of which is entitled to one vote.
Shares
There are
that
at
Disney
least
itself does not own.
398,000,000.
That's what outstanding stock means.
735 shares of common stock represented by proxy at this meeting, which represents at least 51% of the total number of shares entitled to vote.
Thank you. Based on this report, I declare that a quorum is present, that this meeting is qualified to proceed, and that the polls are now open. The first item is the election of 11 members of the board of directors. Each director holds office for a term of 1 year. The following directors are nominated for election at this meeting: Mary Barra, Safra Katz, Amy Chang, Francis D'Souza, Carolyn Everson, Michael Froman, Bob Iger.
Okay, they're reaffirming the board right now. Stay tuned, because there's probably going to be more announcements coming. What you just saw with Bob Iger was mainly a retrospective. Very well done. But I think there's going to be some big announcements based on what I just saw coming up later in this meeting, I think.
As the company's independent registered public accountants for the current
PwC right
fiscal
there.
year,
Yeah.
as recommended by the audit committee of the board of directors. David Johnson, a representative of PricewaterhouseCoopers, is here today to respond to any questions. The board recommends a vote for the ratification of the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers as the company's independent registered public accountants for fiscal 2023.
Oh, wow. Got a
The
nice,
next item is the
hang on, got a nice super chat from Rosalind. Rosalind, thank you so much. Hi, Carlin. It's 7:45 a.m. Wednesday morning here in Adelaide, South Australia. I'm going to get a coffee and some groceries while listening to the stream. I really like reading your Substack and the streams you do. Take care. Thank you, Rosalind. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy your coffee, and I hope the weather is nice in Australia.
advisory vote on executive compensation. We are seeking advisory shareholder approval of the compensation of our named executive officers, and the board recommends a vote for this proposal. The next item is the advisory vote on the frequency of votes on executive compensation. We are required to present executive compensation for advisory approval either every year, every other year, or every 3 years, and we are required to ask shareholders periodically how often they prefer to hold such a vote.
They're asking
That's
for
based-
1
The
year.
board recommends that we continue the practice of holding these votes every year.
And that's based on
The
SEC,
next
Securities and
item
Exchange
is a
Commission
shareholder
regulations, as
proposal
well
by
as
National
corporate
Legal and
bylaws for the
Policy
Walt
Center.
Disney Company.
The full text of the proposal is set forth in the proxy statement.
This is my favorite
I
proposal.
understand that Paul Chesser, a representative of the shareholder, is here to present this proposal, and I would like to invite him to do so. I would ask that he limit the presentation to 2 minutes at most.
The National World War II Museum is hosting an exhibit about how Walt Disney and his company supported the war effort. For example, the Disney
That would be here in
studio
New
lot in
Orleans.
Burbank was converted into a military
I want to go
base
to New
almost
Orleans. I
overnight
love
after
New
the attack
Orleans.
on Pearl Harbor. Disney Studios immediately began work on training videos for topics like how to spot enemy planes. Demonstrating sacrifice, Walt's now beloved classics of the early 1940s like Pinocchio and Bambi suffered early box office losses due to the war effort. Producing the training videos cheaply, Walt said, quote, "I don't like this profit during war when people are out there giving up their lives," end quote. It's quite a contrast to today's Walt Disney Company. As we highlight in proposal number 5, Disney has cozied up to the communist regime in China.
Holy cow!
What?
According to the
What?
US State Department, the dictatorship is guilty of
What? No, 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 no. That did not just happen on the Disney shareholder call. Oh my God. I am absolutely in shock that that just happened. I'm gonna replay it, Kurt. I'm gonna replay it. Don't you worry. Is this some sort of fucking prank? Is this real? Okay. We're gonna rewind. Everyone calm down. If I'm being punked right now, I'm gonna be very pissed off. Let's rewind. Let's rewind and start this again. Okay.
about how Walt Disney and his company supported the war effort. For example, the Disney
That would be here in New
studio lot
Orleans.
in Burbank was converted into a military base almost overnight after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Disney Studios immediately began work on training videos for topics like how to spot enemy planes. Demonstrating sacrifice, Walt's now beloved classics of the early 1940s like Pinocchio and Bambi suffered early box office losses due to the war effort. Producing the training videos cheaply, Walt said, quote, "I don't like this profit during war when people are out there giving up their lives," end quote. It's quite a contrast to today's Walt Disney Company. As we highlight in proposal number 5, Disney has cozied up to the communist regime in China.
Holy cow!
According to the U.S. State Department, the dictatorship is guilty of slavery, forced organ harvesting, genocide, and many other
Lord.
Jesus, this is a fist in the
Rather than take
butt.
the financial hit for principle like Walt did, instead the company thanked the Uyghur torturers in
Oh
Xinjiang
my
for
God.
allowing Iran
This
to
is
build
why
their
we
profits
watch
for
this
one
live.
example.
On Bob Iger's
Disney also
time.
capitulates to the Chinese government's every censorship demand in order to retain access to their market. And rather than enlist its artists against oppressive forces like Walt did, Disney instead infuses its cartoon features with mature adult themes that American parents don't want their kids
Whoa,
exposed to.
this is
Wow.
That led to 2 box office
Get 'em!
bombs for its top 2 animated theatrical releases last year.
They're slapping this
It's
down.
also
Don't
what
get your
cost
hopes up.
Disney its special tax
No, but this is a moment to
around the theme
remember.
parks in Orlando.
This is Ricky.
I have never seen anything like this. Okay. So I did for a couple years. I was like a leadership consultant. I would work with executive boards, and of course, I have my organizational psychology practice. I would also work with executive boards. I've sat in on meetings like this. This never happens. I get. This is the most glorious thing that I have ever heard in my life. I am in shock that this is actually real life. This is how Disney should be dealt with, not Ron DeSantis like using government power to to punish private companies for speech critical of the government. Don't do that. This is how you handle these situations. I owe you $2, Kino. I do. It's true.
Gervais moment.
Upon his return at the end of
This is
last year,
on
Mr.
the
Iger
record.
said about the company's critical relationship with the state of Florida, quote, "To the extent that I can work to kind of quiet things down, I'm going to do that," end quote. But instead, we saw last week Mr. Iger escalate hostilities against the Sunshine State
doing
regarding the
everything.
district.
He's playing
Here it is.
all of
Here it
it.
is.
That's
Here
why
it is.
Mr. Iger and this entire board that presided over last year's disaster cannot be trusted and should be opposed on your proxy ballots.
I don't agree. Emphasize. Thank
Well,
you.
that
Thank
was
you.
2 minutes.
The board of directors has recommended a vote against this proposal.
Oh,
for the reasons set out in the proxy statement. The next item is a shareholder proposal by Thomas Strober.
Oh my.
The full text of the proposal is set forth in the proxy statement.
When's the last time we
I
ever heard
understand that
anything like
Thomas
that from
Strober
any
is
major
here to
company?
present this proposal.
Jonas knows what to
And I
clip.
would like to invite him
Oh,
to do
man.
so.
This is
I would ask
beautiful.
that he
Like
limit the
today.
presentation to 2 minutes at most.
Thank you. My interest in Disney's corporate charitable contributions was sparked when Disney spoke out on two controversial issues: gay sex and abortion.
Oh God.
First concerned a proposed Florida law on when and how elementary students should be taught about gay relationships.
Every company is
The
running
other
as
issue
fast
is
as
when
they can
Disney
from this
decided
now.
it would help some employees skirt valid laws in their states if they wanted to get an abortion. Disney's positions were worse than wrong. They were stupid.
Oh my God.
Any others.
Oh, share this,
In
people.
addition,
Share this right now.
policies could possibly
I have never
alienate
heard anything
millions
like
of
this.
our current and
Share.
potential
Share.
customers. As
I
we
have been doing
learned,
audits
virtue
for
signaling
2
has
decades.
its
Shut
costs.
up!
I was curious if our corporate charitable contributions were influenced by the same politically correct mentality. Corporate charitable contributions have only one legitimate purpose: create goodwill in the mind of the public, people we market to. I discovered that instead of telling about all the many wonderful charities that received almost $300 million of shareholder money, Disney tells a story. Something Disney is good at. Only a handful of charities are actually mentioned. We could have the same story and only give
There's a
away
boom
30
coming.
million. The suggestion is to trust Disney to make the right decision. But considering Disney's most liberal bent, there is little reason to trust. A good story that is designed to obfuscate the truth is disingenuous. The solution: simply list who gets our money. We should want to shout this far and wide. Leave politics at the breakfast table. Come to work with all the employees without insulting their beliefs in the interest of all the shareholders by marketing ourselves to all humanity.
Oh my
Thank you.
God!
Pendulum has shifted.
Thank you. The board of directors has recommended a vote against this proposal for the reasons set out in the proxy statement.
Oh, I
You
bet you
think
have.
again.
I bet
The
you
next
have.
item is a shareholder
Lord.
proposal by the Educational Foundation of America and co-filers. The full text of the proposal is set forth in the proxy statement.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that Laura Nixon is here to present this proposal, and I would like to invite her to do so. I would ask that she limit the presentation to 2 minutes at most.
They can't
Good
bleep in the
afternoon.
chat.
The Educational Foundation of America is a long-term investor in Disney stock. One of the reasons we admire this company is that it takes principled stands on important issues. Sadly, Disney's admirable track record is under attack by some of the very politicians and political organizations that Disney has supported with contributions from the corporate treasury and Disney PAC. Our proposal gives some examples of this. The most notorious example has been Disney's support of Florida politicians who have exacted a costly and very public revenge against this company for taking a principled stand against the bill known as Don't Say Gay.
No, it's not
Another
known as that,
example
you
that
liar.
Doesn't even say gay in the
is
bill.
Disney's generous
Wow.
support of politicians and political committees
She must read
working
the
to
Daily
weaken
Beast.
access to reproductive health care. 70% of Disney's political contributions
This
went
is what it's
to
like to become a
anti-choice
political
politicians in
organization.
Florida
This is what
in the
happens when a
5-year
company
run-up
does this.
to the enactment
Listen.
of
Both
the
sides are not
15-year
going to do it.
abortion ban
Yep.
in 2022. The same politicians are now seeking to narrow the window
Yes.
to 6 weeks before most
Teachers
women
are
even know they
investing
are
in
pregnant.
Disney.
One
It's a
in 4
political
women
statement.
What
will
does that
have an
tell you?
abortion in her lifetime. Think of the harm
Has
to Disney's
nothing
Florida
to
workforce
do
over
with
the years to come.
Disney.
Disney's political dollars have also supported politicians.
This is
working
why
against
this company's so
progress on climate
screwed up.
and those who promote the 2020 stolen election conspiracy theory.
Oh, here we go.
Oh
Disney
my
shareholders
God.
need to be reassured that the
But this is
company
what happens.
spending
Disney
its
made
political
themselves
dollars
political.
wisely and in alignment
And
with
this
its
is
core
during the
principles
week
and
with all
interests.
the Trump stuff going
That is
on.
the purpose
This
of the
is
report
stupid for
requested in
Disney.
this proposal. It is
Oh,
not a
I
heavy
hadn't thought of
lift,
that. You're
and it
right.
would incentivize
This
careful
goes nuts
scrutiny,
tomorrow.
wiser decision-making, and accountability to shareholders.
So she
Please
wants
vote in
them
favor
to list
of
all of their
item
political
number 7 on your
expenditures so
ballot.
that they can
Thank you.
crucify them even more?
Yes.
Thank you.
This is a
The Board
lib
of
or
Directors
this is a
has
very
recommended
left-wing
a vote
organization
against
that's been trying to do this to
proposal
Disney
for
for
the reasons
years.
set out in the proxy statement.
I'll
I
explain
would
it
ask the
later.
Inspector of Election to give us his report based on proxies received by the opening of the polls at today's meeting. Inspector, may we have your preliminary report?
Almost
Thank you, Mr.
1,300
Gutierrez.
watching.
For item one,
Please smash the
election
like
of
and share.
directors,
Thank you
we
so
have
much for being
received
here.
proxies voting for each director representing
Super
at
chats,
least
be patient. We will get
91%
to them
of the
as
votes
soon as
cast.
we possibly can.
For item 2, ratification of the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers, we have received proxies for 94% of shares voting to approve the appointment. For item 3, relating to executive compensation, we have received proxies for 86% of shares voting to approve the resolution, 11% voting against the resolution, and less than 3% abstaining. For item 4, relating to the frequency of votes on executive compensation, we have received proxies for 98% of shares voting to approve holding an annual vote.
No surprise.
For item 5, relating to a report on operations related to China, we have received proxies for 7% of shares voting to approve the proposal, 89% voting against the proposal, and less than 4% abstaining. For item 6, relating to charitable contributions disclosure, we have received proxies for 7% of shares voting to approve the proposal, 92% voting against the proposal.
That's been shot down every year.
And less than 1%
Every year.
abstaining. For item 7, relating to a political expenditures report, we have received proxies for 36% of shares voting to approve the
36?
proposal.
I'm sorry.
63% voting against the proposal, and less than 1% abstaining.
That's the one that's been
That
shot down
concludes
every
my
year. I'm
report,
sorry.
Mr. Gutierrez.
Thank you.
Was
The
looking at the
polls
wrong
will
line
now
item.
close.
That's it. It's over.
Based on that report and subject
But
to
that
the
got on
counting
the
of the
record.
ballots
And
presented
that
at
was
the
awesome.
meeting and
That was
final confirmation
freaking
of
awesome.
voting results by the Inspector of Election,
Dude, send that guy a
I
super
declare
chat.
that all the nominees for election
Oh,
to the
we're
board
getting
have
that
been
dude on the
duly
show.
elected, that the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers has been duly ratified, that the advisory resolution on executive compensation is approved,
Just to
that
explain,
the
folks,
advisory
the
resolution to
reason
hold
that the
votes
one
on
that was
executive
dramatically different than the
compensation
others
annually
received the 30%
is approved.
plus vote is
That the
likely
first
because it has
shareholder
institutional
proposal
support
is not
because
approved,
many of those institutional
that the
investors
second
lean in that
shareholder
very
proposal
direction.
is
That's
not
what they
approved,
think, and they would love
and
the
that the
opportunity
third
to crucify
shareholder
those who disagree.
proposal is not approved. The final vote results will be included in the Form 8K.
Okay, he's going through compliance real quick to what Pro is saying. Let me just clarify it a little bit, if you don't mind me, Pro.
Yeah, go
And
for
that is the fact that that organization represents a collective of, in a lot of cases, teachers unions and pension funds for teachers. That's where the fight is coming from. Not necessarily the institutionals themselves, but from the pension funds and the unions.
That's where those union dues
Right.
go. For those of you who think,
Educational
oh,
Foundation
they,
of America. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, for those of you who ignore
they,
the
whoa, whoa, whoa.
political
They cut this way back.
As briefly as possible, not more than 2 minutes. And be
Wow.
prepared to
I don't know how to
ask
crank it up.
question if your
We're
original
already in
question
Q&A.
has already been answered. His first question comes from Corey Borgstadt from Lubbock, Texas.
I'm amazed.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Corey, and I'm a shareholder from Arizona. Disney Plus has become a place where fans can find diverse stories from the characters we have come to know and love. But do you think there ever will be a time where there becomes too much content to the point where it becomes overwhelming for the viewer and the content doesn't always live up to the Disney quality standards?
There you go.
That's a softball question.
Well, Corey, first of all,
I love these people
I'd
today.
be remiss if I didn't say welcome back. I know you have an incredible track record of attending these meetings and asking questions. I think probably think back to the time you were in early elementary school. So it's certainly nice to hear from you. We are probably one of the world's largest creators of content. But when we decide to make content or tell stories, our aim always is quality. And I must admit, sometimes volume can be tricky in terms of maintaining quality. And I think there is a limit in terms of what can be made or what should be made, something that we're always mindful of. So I'm proud of our track record in terms of what we've made and the quality of it. But I'm also mindful that sometimes the more is not necessarily the merrier.
You. And our next question today comes from Carmine Perrone from the Woodlands, Texas. Please go ahead.
A lot of Texas.
Thanks for taking my question, and thanks, Mr. Iger,
That's a
for
very red area.
taking on this challenge that you agreed to in November and your work thus far and in the future. My question is, in the second quarter of last year, the company spent $1 billion to essentially buy back licensed content to stream exclusively on our property.
I love this.
To return, you've emphasized a focus on producing content for the DTC platforms, mainly from the core four, as I like to call them, and potentially licensing undifferentiated content from other owned studios and IP, or possibly producing new content for others out of these
I
creative
think our
outlets.
viewers are asking questions now
Could
directly.
you share what content required the $1 billion last year, and whether we can expect any future revenue derived from producing content for others, and if so, when we might hear about this?
These are
And
all
as
the
a- on a
questions
lighter
that
note,
I would
if
ask.
you somehow swing getting the Marvel theme park rights east of the Mississippi back from Comcast during the Hulu negotiations, that would be great. Thanks.
This is great.
Oh, that's interesting.
Thank you very much, Carmine. I like the second part of your question. We certainly would love to be able to do more with Marvel. In
I
our
like
park.
the
I'll
second
leave it- I'll
part
leave
about
it at
getting the
that.
rights back from Universal.
Regarding your first question, the primary shift that occurred in terms of licensing content to third parties came when we determined that the core strategy of the company going forward from a media perspective would be and should be streaming. And in order to essentially achieve the goal of getting into the streaming business very successfully, we felt we had to take control back of the content that we had licensed to third parties. At that point, most of it was going to Netflix. And we
And it
actually
cost them
enjoyed a good
billions.
relationship with them over the time that we licensed content for them.
They're not
But
going
we
to catch
licensed very valuable content we felt that we absolutely needed in order to launch streaming successfully. And that's exactly what happened. So the shift that you suggest from a financial perspective was so that we could get into the streaming business at a significant level, which we've actually done. And we're proud of our track record so far, although we realize that we have challenges ahead of us. Namely,
Like
to
$12
get to
billion in
profitability.
the hole
I don't
challenges?
think you'll see much of a change there. We're not looking to license our core Disney, Marvel, Pixar, or Star Wars products to third parties. We
'Cause
will
they
consider
suck.
on occasion
Killed that
licensing
rumor
other
right there,
content to
too,
third
didn't he?
parties, but that will be part of the strategy that we deploy going forward in terms of our streaming business. Thank you. Next question, please.
Yeah. No more pay one or pay
question
two windows.
comes from Sharon Plum from
we
Florida.
lost money.
Please go ahead.
1,400 in live chat. Thank you
Hello,
so much for
Sharon, your
being
line is
here.
open.
Smash that like and that share.
And it looks like we're having some audio difficulties there, so we'll go to our next question, which comes from Dwight Morgan from California. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Bob. Welcome back. I'm a long-term shareholder and a big Disney fan, D23 member, pin trader, pass holder. But 15 years ago in Albuquerque was the first time we met. We had a conversation which continued then in Oakland a year later and
Well, Tiger's got a good
culminated in
memory.
an announcement in San Antonio in 2010, though I wasn't present at that meeting. The Premier Passport was announced and was well received. 10 years later, 2020, it disappeared without announcement at all. So I tried to renew mine. I had no clue it was no longer available. My attendance at the virtual meeting that year was terminated when my call was dropped for some reason as the meeting began. When I called back, I received a recording stating that my ID was already in use, so I missed the opportunity to ask the other Bob
Like a mom
why
saying her
that
son
pass
won't
was
call
gone.
The other Bob.
I called in 2021 and asked Bob why the Premier Pass had been eliminated. His response was,
Oh
"It
no,
has."
this is like pixie
And we
dust
went on
gripes.
to the next call without explanation. I listened to the first quarter shareholder meeting call in February, and you spoke of reducing annual pass access. And that made some sense.
But these are the plain language
could be made to
questions that
work
often
even
throw
then.
these guys off.
That could be made to work with the Premier Pass. So my question is threefold. I have to start all over? Or can you help tell me when I can renew my Premier Pass? And why should those of us who are true fanatics be punished and restricted when the Premier Pass works so well?
I love that.
And also-
Thanks for your time, and
the
again,
question that's
welcome
coming
back.
on the shareholder.
Why did you
call.
cancel F-Troop?
Dwight, first of all, thank you very much
It's like a
for
customer
attending
service
one of
hotline.
our shareholder meetings again. I know that we've had a lot of interaction over the years, and I appreciate both your interest in Disney and, of course, your patronage. I looked into this when I came back, actually, I think anticipating that I would get a question from you on the subject. So I guess I was correct in that regard.
Right.
And what I discovered.
Yo, the CEO of Disney is specifically looking into this one guy's complaint about his Premier Pass. This is probably why things are so effed up at Disney.
Discovered was that you are one of very few cast or people who are actually interested in such a pass. And because demand for that kind of pass is so limited,
So he's
it
obviously
didn't make sense for the companies to
done-
support
he's
it. There was
asked this
cost
before.
associated with supporting it.
Oh, is the Premier
and we
the
simply just
two-part
didn't have enough interest
California
to
and
justify
Orlando
it.
pass?
It's just that
Okay.
simple. We appreciate the fact that you're interested in visiting all of our parks. We actually believe that they're all accessible in varying ways, and the Premier Pass didn't really achieve all that much in terms of accessibility. But again, I just want to say that you're one of a few that are interested in it, and that wasn't enough to justify us keeping it going. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. Next question, please.
Yes, sir. And our next question today comes from Alan Fisher from Ameriprise Financial.
Institutionals, here we go.
Hi, Bob,
Ameriprise.
and again, I reiterate, welcome back. As a financial advisor
That's
here
American
in Melbourne, Florida,
Express.
only about an hour from Walt Disney World, what steps have already been taken or will be taken to protect shareholder value with regard to the legal battle between Disney and Ron DeSantis and the Reedy Creek Improvement District? We're kind of all concerned about that here. The tax bill. My son lives in Orlando, and he's worried about his taxes going up.
Alan, let me, if you don't mind, let me address this issue, which I haven't really done much.
Yes. Oh,
publicly,
please
but I'd
do,
love the
Bob.
opportunity just
Please create content
put
for
it
me,
all in
Bob.
perspective. First of all, and I know you said you're a resident, I think, of Melbourne, Florida. We love the state of Florida, and I think that's
Yes, you do.
reflected in not only how much we've invested over the last 50 years, but how much
Share
we've given back
the
in the
stream.
form of jobs and community service, taxes, which you brought up, tourism, of course, and all sorts of other responsible business practices. We've also always respected and appreciated what the state has done for us. It's kind of been a two-way street. But a year ago, the company took a position on pending Florida legislation. And while the company may have not handled the position that it took very well, a company has a right to freedom of speech just like individuals do.
Oh my gosh,
And
he's making the
obviously, in
mistake.
taking the
He's not
position,
going to do this,
the
is he?
governor got very angry about the position Disney took.
He's
and
making a
seems like he's
mistake.
decided to retaliate.
Wait. What's happening? Hang on. I need to rewind this. I need to listen to this again.
Already been taken or will be taken to protect shareholder value with regard to the legal battle between Disney and Ron DeSantis and the Reedy Creek Improvement District. We're kind of all concerned about that here. The tax bill. My son lives in Orlando, and he's worried about his taxes going up.
Alan, let me, if you don't mind, let me address this issue, which I haven't really done much.
Yes.
Oh,
publicly,
please
but I'd
do,
love the
Bob.
opportunity just
Please create content
put
for
it
me,
all in
Bob.
perspective. First of all, and I know you said you're a resident, I think, of Melbourne, Florida. We love the state of Florida, and I think that's
Yes, you do.
reflected in not only how much we've invested over the last 50 years, but how much
Share
we've given back
the
in the
stream.
form of jobs and community service, taxes, which you brought up, tourism, of course, and all sorts of other responsible business practices. We've also always respected and appreciated what the state has done for us. It's kind of been a two-way street. But a year ago, the company took a position on pending Florida legislation. And while the company may have not handled the position that it took very well, a company has a right to freedom of speech just like individuals do.
Oh my gosh,
And
he's making the
obviously, in
mistake.
taking the
He's not
position,
going to do this,
the
is he?
governor got very angry about the position Disney took.
He's
And
making a
seems like he's
mistake.
decided to retaliate against us, including
Oh
the
my
naming of a
gosh.
new board to oversee the property and the business. In effect, to seek to punish a company for its
He
exercise
is
of a
not
constitutional right.
conflating.
So, I'm going to be honest. Bob Iger, okay, this is is an example of just because you can doesn't mean you should. I actually agree with Bob Iger on this. Not because I'm a fan of Disney, but because I don't think it's acceptable for a governor of a state to use the power of the state to punish a company for protected speech. And yes, the company's speech is protected. This has already been decided on by the Supreme Court. I don't want to hear any fucking nonsense. I know how to slap down every argument you guys are going to make against this because you're taking a political position instead of a nuanced reality position. So I'm actually on Bob Iger's side on the point that he's making. However, this was a really effing stupid venue to make this point, especially given the lead up to this and all of these sort of trolly things that they're saying, like that they're getting. This was a really exceptionally stupid move for Bob Iger to play it this way. And Bob Iger should know this because, you know, he's not a newbie. He's not green. He's been around for a long time. He knows how the game is played. Hang on. I'm sure it does get bad because this was a fucking stupid thing to do. This is like one of those, like, again, guys, just because you can doesn't mean you should. You do not inflame tensions on a shareholder call that's going to be streamed all over the internet. This is one of those situations where, like, you have to think about strategy. You have to think about, like, how is this going to be received in the context in which I am operating? This is not going to be received well. I'm telling you that right now. Let's see.
And that just seems really
RCID
wrong to
and
me.
Disney right now, is he?
Against any company or individual, but particularly against the company that means so much to the state that you live in. And to put that in perspective, we have over 75,000 employees, which I noted in my opening. Countless thousands of indirect jobs have been created.
Ron DeSantis just
about
poured
50
a
million
drink.
Visitors will go through our gates this year
This
alone.
will be
about
used
8
in court
million of
now.
them from
I mean,
outside
this
the
is
U.S.
absolutely going to go to
And
court.
we are the
It
largest
is a known
taxpayer in the state.
He must have known the subpoena was going to
you may
make this
find this
clear.
interesting as it relates to future taxes, but we're currently planning now to invest over $17 billion in Walt Disney World over the next 10 years. And those investments, we estimate, will create 13,000 new Disney jobs and thousands of other indirect jobs. And they'll also attract more people to the state and generate more taxes. And so our point on this is that any action that thwarts those efforts, simply to retaliate for a position the company took, sounds not just anti-business, but it sounds anti-Florida. And I'll just leave it at that. Thank you very much for your interest.
Mags Legal was going to be here, but it's 3 a.m. where he's at.
Again, I don't disagree with the content of what Bob Iger just said. I disagree with the strategy of saying it on the shareholder call that's recorded. He could have done any number of things to deflect from this particular conversation. He could have handled it in any number of ways that did not directly result in creating a pissing contest with Ron DeSantis. It was just stupid. Really, really stupid. In any number of different ways. And Bob Iger should know this.
In Korea, he's not up
Hey,
yet.
From Raymond
It's a
Howard
major
from Las
tactical
Vegas,
error.
Nevada.
It's
Holy
huge.
Good morning, Bob, and
explain
thank
later.
you for coming back after a successful retirement. It's a painful task, I'm sure, and I know that you do it for love of the company, not for money.
Yeah.
Regarding
All right. For anyone that is about to argue with me, It doesn't fucking matter if it went through the legislature. It doesn't fucking matter. It is the government using the power of the government to punish a private business for speech critical of the government. And you guys are fucking retarded if you think that when a Democrat governor gets elected in Florida, and at some point a Democrat governor will get elected in Florida, you are fucking retarded if you think this isn't going to be used against you and every other Republican company in Florida. And it will probably be used in other states too, because it is quite literally the government punishing a private company for speech. And if any of you guys want to argue with me, we can spend time arguing about this again ad nauseum, the same way that every other time you guys have tried to argue with me, and you'll deflect and you'll say, Carlin, what about this? What about that? What about that other thing? What about this? What about that? And you'll give example after example that speak not at all to the issue that I have raised, because you're trying to deflect from the argument, because you're not capable of defeating the argument at all, because it is very clearly, as Ron DeSantis bragged about at fundraising meetings, the government punishing a private company for protected speech critical of the government. So you let me know if you want to keep arguing about it. And we can keep arguing about it, or we can listen to the call. You let me know.
No, the last question brought up, I disagreed that Disney has an obligation to take political positions that are detrimental to the overall
Chat,
company.
we're going to explain in a minute.
But anyway,
stick around. We're going to get back to that. Hold tight.
Huge mistake.
Your comments earlier about concentrating on the streaming service going forward as a primary business front. And I just did some quick calculations that if there are 100 million households in America and we get 100% of them at $7 a month times 12 months, that's $8 billion a year. Less than 10% of the revenue of the Walt Disney Corporation. In other words, it's a capped amount. It's like the number of heads of hair a barber can cut is finite. There's not more hours.
His math's a little
so I'm
squiffy.
questioning the comments you also made about.
I think this is a really good point.
I just don't
really astute point.
We're trying to argue about saturation.
Produced volume.
If you reach the saturation, he raises prices.
Content,
or
and
offers more
I can only say that my own watch list has 400 or 4,000 things I'm going to watch later, but I never seem to get to it. Having gone through the video store business in the 1980s and seeing how the video store business was destroyed not by Netflix, but rather by oversupply of
Red
content
Shirt,
to the consumers,
we're going to
overwhelming their
stick
ability
around.
to make choices.
I didn't think I was going to be stuck here
would
this
just
long
ask you
today,
to,
but I'm going to be.
that because it's not playing the infinite game; it's playing a finite game. There's only a finite
1,500
number of
watching.
households
Thank
that
you.
can pay $7 a
Like,
month for
share,
Disney Plus.
sub.
Iger self-immolation.
So anyway, my comment is it wise for the company to take political positions that satisfy a very small portion of the people when our primary mission is entertainment?
He circled back and threw him off.
Okay, well, Raymond, first of all, I respect your position on this and
No, you
appreciate your
don't.
question. And I would like to address that. Look, first of all, as the CEO of the company, I think my job is to strive to do what I think is best for our business, and that includes doing what's best for our cast members or our employees, and what will enable both to flourish. I don't think
Your
we
duty
should
is
or
to
can
the
weigh in
customer
on
and the
every
shareholders,
issue.
not the
And
employees.
I also understand there are going to be gray areas. There are going to be times when we decide to weigh in on an issue that we believe is worthy of debate because of its relevance and importance to our business or to our employees. And there are times when I actually believe we shouldn't. But I strongly feel that we alone have to determine whether, when, or how to weigh in on an issue, whether it's private or public. Of course, with the standard that when we take a position on those matters, there's a true reason why we have. And in almost all cases, it has to be because it directly affects our business or our people.
This is
And
why
I think if you look
Vanguard
back,
left the
for decades,
DEI
corporate
climate
America has
change
expressed
stuff.
themselves on numerous issues of both right and wrong. And our country, I think, is better off for that. And this was evident during the civil rights era, as I recall as a child, when a lot of companies weighed in on injustices that they saw in America.
About bedroom issues
It was
with the civil
certainly
rights
true
era.
during World War II.
He just
when those
did.
that stood in silence.
He's comparing
in some
teaching
ways
4-year-olds
still weigh
bedroom issues
still,
with World War II.
Carry the stain of indifference. So as long as I'm in the job, I'm going to continue to be guided by a sense of
the stain of indifference
and
for
respect,
4-year-olds getting education on drag queens.
Weigh in because the issue.
He's gone off the rails. He's off the rails.
People that work for us.
He has.
Thank you.
Holy crap on a stick!
He's lost his mind. Today comes from Chris O'Horo from Florida. Please go ahead.
From Florida.
Hi, Bob. I don't know if
But
you
Disney's
remember me
getting rid
or not.
of Woke,
I've been
y'all.
to a couple of meetings
or whatever.
I been with the company for 34 years. I opened Disney MGM Studios and Indiana Jones show. I was at Indiana Jones show for 30 years. Now I'm at Galaxy's Edge. It's pretty cool. I'm at Gesture Rec Tech. I make our characters help them out talking. And I just wanted to also thank you for the support you're showing our cast members. I really appreciate the stuff you just said, and I just want to tell you how much I appreciate that. The reason why I really
they're screening calls right now to get him something easy.
I was at my cast center, and you guys had a tent set up, and you had information, and they were talking about CastLink helping cast members, and they were talking about a program called.
What do you want to bet the last guy
care service
said to the screeners that you want to talk about Disney
later
Plus?
that year, my mother got cancer. She was a 17-year cast member too in Central Reservation Center, and she retired from the company after 17 years doing guest service for Central Reservations, and her condition got worse and worse and worse, and somehow I remembered about the backup.
Not financial advice to anybody, but the
care
stock
service
is
you
dropping
guys
right now.
offered through the live cast. So I called them and found out about it.
Let's
and my
be careful with that right
for
now.
my family that
Mid-trading
somebody
day.
that was able to come help my mom, and she was very proud too because it was from Disney and stuff. But I just want to thank the company for the care you do show towards cast members. I know that the company gets attacked a lot, but as a cast member, I'm very grateful. 34 years I've been with the company, and I thank you very much. My question is, has the market ever thought about going back to the e-ticket system? I think that would be something that needs to be looked into. Thank you.
E-tickets. The first part of your question or comment is really appreciated. I remember having an interesting discussion some years back about benefits that we offer and support that we offer our cast members. And for years, we had been very focused on offering support for the children of cast members, daycare centers, et cetera. And someone in our HR department raised the fact that we also have an obligation to our parents often, our aging parents in particular. And at the time, I had lost my dad and my mother had Alzheimer's. And I just remember it really hit home, that issue hit home. And we decided to extend our support.
What's up, Flash? Good to see you, buddy.
To our cast members for elder care as well as child care. And so I appreciate the fact that you've taken advantage of that. And
Flash, if you just got here, you missed
it's critically
heavy stuff,
I've
dude.
not had any discussion about reinstituting e-tickets. To answer your question, I can have that discussion with Josh tomorrow and the team. We're looking at a number of different opportunities for us to improve guest experience, to not only make sure that they have access to what they want to have access to when they come in.
He's not saying anything here,
but basically to make sure that as many as possible also have that access. So anyway, I haven't.
I don't know what that question meant anyway, and I know Disney Parks pretty darn well.
We're considering seriously, but given the fact that you asked the question, I will bring it up. Thank you very much.
It seems to me he was asking,
Because that
is
would
Disney
mean
going
that
to
no
start building new
conservative would get
e-ticket attractions again? Maybe I missed something. Chat, let me know what I missed.
Please go ahead.
You can't be talking about bringing back the ticket system.
Hello, Bob. I'd like to address what I view as the elephant in the room. Over the last 2 years, Disney has turned from a place of magic for children to an ideological company serving LGBTQ, IA plus, however many other letters you want to add to that, lobbies
Oh my
to groom
God.
children. Over and over again,
shit,
we see how your
said the
films
G
and entertainment are increasingly promoting the woke agenda. How can you explain to parents worldwide that you recently celebrated 100 years of history by collaborating with the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus to produce an LGBTQ IA+ themed Disney musical? This is a group who have explicitly stated that they want to indoctrinate children. They literally sang a concert and they sang the words, "We will convert your children quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it." Disney chose to collaborate with these predators to sing to children. How can you explain to parents worldwide that over the next few months, dozens of highly sexualized gay pride parades will take place in Disneyland parks worldwide, the exact places where they used to take their children for fun? Are you surprised that
Mike
Disney's
is dying
audience
with
has
me,
plummeted,
baby.
losing 2.4 million subscribers in the last quarter?
These are the days where I wish I could be on camera.
To hear.
Oh
No
my
wonder
God.
you were laying off 7,000 employees
never
from
heard
today, in
anything like
addition to the other thousands last
Anytime.
year. No wonder Disney's stock value dropped more than 30% over 1 year. As a business
Wow.
shareholder, I have
This
a
is
simple
nuts.
question. Would it not
Shareholder
be beneficial
rebellion.
for the company to ditch the LGBTQIA+
Yes.
I
and
have
gender
listened to
ideology
these
for
kinds of
good?
things for
If
15
you are really
years.
interested in refloating Disney, please turn Disney back to the apolitical, fun place that it used to be. And I bet that you'll win back both the trust of families and the stock market.
Never have I heard things
Elizabeth,
like this.
I'm coming to join you, honey.
Thank you very much for your
Answer the question,
I know
Bob.
you were talking about more than just content. You were talking about experiences that we provide to people.
They tried to
actually
screen
pride
him.
ourselves
Shut
on
up.
Wait,
being accessible to all people.
I want to hear this.
But let me put some perspective,
Yelling to
if
these
you don't
people
mind,
so they
create
can
some
hear me.
perspective here
please.
too. You know that our company is celebrating its 100th year this year. And we've been telling stories for 100 years that are aimed at entertaining and inspiring families from all over the world. And we're extremely proud of the positive impact we've had on billions of people over that 100-year period of time. And for generations, the
Players too
stories
were
that we've
interested
told
in.
have touched people's hearts because they've been infused with right values. They've celebrated heroes and emphasized the value of family and friendship. They've instilled a steady faith in the belief that good triumphs over evil.
Not what we're talking about.
Tomorrow is always brighter than today.
Until
And I
2015.
think
Who
those
wrote the
stories had
platitude
an
speech?
amazingly positive impact on the world, a world that always loves and needs great stories, and heavens, great entertainment, particularly in today's world. And we've recently gotten criticism, as you just expressed, for what some perceive to be agenda-driven content. And I'm sensitive to that, actually. Our primary mission needs to be to entertain, and then through our entertainment to continue to have a positive impact on the world. And I'm very serious about that. It should not be agenda-driven. It should be entertainment-driven. That should be the goal in all of our stories. And while I know we're just never going to please everyone all the time, we should be sensitive to the fact that parents have different levels of comfort with the content that is delivered to their children.
Lied.
I want parents to be able to trust the content that we're creating for their children, and we're committed to delivering age-appropriate content for family audiences.
If anyone
while
doesn't know what's
also
going on
telling
here,
stories
watch
that
my
reflect
channel.
the world around us, and that foster a greater understanding, greater perspective, greater acceptance of all people. And it's just my hope that Disney continues to be a source of hope and optimism for the
Greater
world.
acceptance of
And
what?
we're honored
Pedos?
to actually carry forth Walt's legacy of inspiring joy and wonder for everyone. Thank you very much.
That was a politician's answer.
Thank you. And our next question today
What
comes
a
from Bruno
bucket of
Ricchetti,
bullshit
Oyster
that
Method
was.
So he may have learned at this point that perhaps he should just deflect from the questions being asked. It's almost like he did a little after action report in his head after that, after the last question, where he just like let it all out and he knows he's going to have consequences for that. And he's like, oh, F. And well, he did say absolutely nothing. And that's actually the point. That's what he should have done on the other question.
Please go ahead.
Do it again.
Everything they've done. It's in the stockholder report. It was in Reimagine Tomorrow. It's entirely agenda driven. It's in the corporate situs of Disney at this point. He straight lied.
I wish I
morning
should have gotten the
from,
call
the
directly. This
comeback
guy's
city of
annoying.
Detroit, Michigan. We would like to commend Disney for their commitment to diversity and inclusion.
This is what happens when you
Oh,
become
here we go.
political, folks.
Wait, here we go. Here's the
especially
balance
on
call.
the board of directors and in your upper management. It was great to hear Mr. Gutierrez address everyone this morning, and we believe that this reflects the diversity of the world that Disney serves. This should be a benchmark for other corporations to follow. We would also like to thank Disney for their continued support of other nonprofits that serve the underserved communities throughout the world, especially in the U.S. And we truly, truly appreciate the efforts that Disney provides.
Yeah, so what Naruto is talking about is the new Doctor Who is black. And I never watched Doctor Who, but I understand enough about it to understand that literally like anyone could be Doctor Who, because like it doesn't have to be like a specific skin color. And so he was theorizing that there might be a lot of backlash to Doctor Who being black. And I have to say, I was kind of expecting Republicans to say some racist stuff about it, but it seems like they haven't, which is good, and they really shouldn't. So hopefully that continues to get reined in. And predictably, there's already racist shit in my chat. All right.
I'd to make a brighter world for everyone. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. And then we're looking forward to a brighter 2020.
Here's the thing. Lisa Su is one of the most brilliant
James,
CEOs
thank you very much.
of a
That was
Fortune
actually
500 company. She
wasn't
runs
really a
AMD. The
question,
fact that
was a
she's
comment that
Asian
we
has
really
nothing to do with
appreciate.
anything.
Obviously, diversity has been a
This
real
is what
priority
happens.
for us,
This
not
is where
just as a
Disney has
company
by
in
their own
terms of our
decision-making.
employees, but also obviously reflected in the content that we make and reflected in the Walt Disney Board of Directors. It was a true priority of our board some years back to make sure that just as our content best reflects the world that we're trying to reach, that our board also reflects the world that we do business in. And we love the fact that you recognize that and appreciate it. And I think it is a great way to end this meeting. I'd like to express my appreciation for all the questions that were asked and those that were in attendance. Obviously, my appreciation to all the great people that work for this company and make it what it is, and my appreciation to the Walt Disney Board of Directors. As I said in my opening comments, it is a true honor and a privilege to be back running this wonderful company. And I thank you all very much.
That was a bruising beatdown.
God.
Thank you for attending today's presentation. You may now disconnect.
Okay, we have a lot to unpack here, folks. Don't go anywhere. Holy.
Kino was telling me to wait, so I'm
Holy hell.
waiting. I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
I think Special Victims Unit is going to have to go up there to Bob Iger's office.
Like, does something else happen?
That was a prison shower scene during that Q&A.
I will say I am shocked at how short that meeting was. That meeting, that went horribly wrong for them. They cut that meeting short. I promise you. I promise you. Kino, I don't know what that means. Okay, I'm asking for the people who watched this yesterday, is there anything else on this stream that I need to watch? Because you guys said it would end around an hour and 20 minutes, and so it's about an hour and 20 minutes, and so I'm trying to find out if I should continue, if these I don't have a lot of trust that these people are going to say anything interesting, to be honest. But that was crazy. Like, I have never been involved in a like I mean, I'm not involved, but like I've never listened to a meeting like that where the shareholders openly rebelled against a company for taking a political opinion. So Kino's saying they regroup and read chats, but is it interesting is the thing, because I basically have found this person to be like yelling and screaming and being inflammatory and hyperbolic, which is fine. Listen, I do it too sometimes. You're streaming, sometimes you need to be a little over the top, a little hyperbolic. I just don't have any faith that he's going to say anything of substance that I'm interested in. So, unless there's some reason for me to keep watching the stream, and I'm just waiting because I know there's a delay in the chat. But no, that's crazy, guys. Like, that's crazy. It'll be really interesting to see, is anyone else covering this? Because, like, I mean, I admittedly haven't looked, but, like, I thought Iger compared civil rights movement to drag queens. No, he didn't. No, Boom is saying that there's no other thing I need to watch on this. All right, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm really glad that we watched that. That was kind of like, it was a little bit of a white pill moment, wasn't it? It was glorious. Oh man. Can we just rewind and like do the first part again where that first proposal is being proposed? Hang on. For people who may have missed like the first like real nail in Disney's coffin, I just need to watch this again. This was fucking hilarious. I'm sorry. This is so we're watching Disney shareholder meeting, and so it was kind of like a boring, lame shareholder meeting up until the point where they got to the shareholder proposals. And I was legitimately shocked at the rebellion of the Disney shareholders. Let's just watch it one more time for people who maybe missed it, or you joined a little late, or maybe you just want to relive the magic, the Disney childhood magic of this moment. Let's listen.
He limit the presentation to 2 minutes at most.
The National World War II Museum is hosting an exhibit about how Walt Disney and his company supported the war effort. For example, the Disney
That would be here in New
studio lot in
Orleans.
Burbank was converted into a military base almost overnight after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Disney Studios immediately began work on training videos for topics like how to spot enemy planes. Demonstrating sacrifice, Walt's now beloved classics of the early 1940s like Pinocchio and Bambi suffered early box office losses due to the war effort. Producing the training videos cheaply, Walt said, quote, "I don't like this profit during war when people are out there giving up their lives," end quote. It's quite a contrast to today's Walt Disney Company. As we highlight in proposal number 5, Disney has cozied up to the communist regime in China.
Holy cow!
According to the U.S. State Department, the dictatorship is guilty of slavery, forced organ harvesting, genocide, and many other
Lord.
human
Jesus,
crimes.
this is a fist in the
Rather than take the financial hit for principle like Walt did, instead the company thanked the Uyghur torturers in Xinjiang for allowing Iran
This
to
is
build
why
their
we
products,
watch this
for one
live.
example.
On Bob Iger's
Disney also
time.
capitulates to the Chinese government's every censorship demand in order to retain access to their market. And rather than enlist its artists against oppressive forces like Walt did, Disney instead infuses its cartoon features with mature adult themes that American parents don't want their kids exposed to.
This is
That led to 2 box office bombs for its top 2 animated theatrical releases last year.
They're slapping this
It's
down.
also
Don't
what
get your
cost
hopes up.
Disney its special tax
No, but this is a
district
moment
around
to
its theme
remember.
parks in Orlando.
This is Ricky Gervais moment.
Upon his return at the end of
This is
last year,
on
Mr.
the
Iger
record.
said about the company's critical relationship with the state of Florida, quote, "To the extent that I can work to kind of quiet things down, I'm going to do that," end quote. But instead, we saw last week Mr. Iger escalate hostilities against the Sunshine State regarding the district.
He's playing all of it.
That's why Mr. Iger and this entire board that presided over last year's disaster cannot be trusted and should be opposed on your proxy ballots.
That's it. That's
Well.
it. That was the thing that broke the dam. And then there was another proposal that was rebelling against Disney. And then there was a proposal from the teachers union, because apparently the teachers union is funding Disney and they really love that Disney's doing all this groomer shit. And then they went into shareholder questions, and it was just like person after person after person, like complaining about Disney. They had a couple ones where they were like, "Disney, we love you and we love that you take political positions." But then there were just a few like savage people who were like, "Why are you doing this?" It was fantastic. So if you missed the shareholder call, I definitely recommend you go back and watch it because it is well worth it. I have never heard anything like this in my life. I think it's great. I think it was just like, it was that white pill moment where it's like, there is still sanity in the world. Kino's saying there is a rumor that Ron DeSantis sent in plants to the call. That would not surprise me at all. Bob Iger screwed up so bad. Bob Iger should not have said some of those things on a recorded phone call. It's going to be used against him, I promise you. And again, I say that as someone who actually agrees with what Bob Iger said. Not that I'm a fan of Disney, but I do actually think that on principle, Bob Iger is correct on the point that he made. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. Sometimes you need to deflect. Sometimes you need to word salad that, like you don't always need to answer the question being asked, and it's not always in your best interest to answer the question being asked. Bob Iger. Oh my God. You know, sometimes you just have to let people kind of dig their own grave. Like, you just have to let them dig their own grave. It's amazing. So I definitely recommend, if you didn't get a chance to watch it, or if you joined late or something, just set aside some time, go back, enjoy the whole glorious thing. I had a great time. I want to thank you to Boom and Kino, who both really like recommended that that we watch this because it was just beautiful. Just beautiful. All right, guys. Tomorrow on the show, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be resuming watching the testimony from the Texas bill that is a ban on gender modification surgery for minors. We started watching it last week. We got a couple hours into it. There's still a whole bunch left, but it was really good and it was really informative, and it was really good to hear the state representatives questioning the people who are coming in and giving testimony either before or against the bill. So I do want to go back and I want to keep watching it. We're going to hear from the sisters that testified in the Texas House and their stories, and we're going to see Democrats like questioning them to try to poke holes in it, which I'm sure is going to go really well when you're talking about kids. Fun times. But we will be doing that tomorrow at 5 p.m. And then, of course, because it is Tuesday, today is not the last stream of the day. It is but the first stream of the day, and I will be going live at 9:30 tonight with Joshua for nothing remotely controversial. And we will be having a really good time with that. This is a show that we do on Tuesday nights at 9:30, where we talk about the news and whatever is going on in the world. And Joshua, who is our professional psychic, uses his psychic powers to help us peer beneath the surface and find out what's really going on in the world. And so we do take your questions. If you have questions you want Joshua to answer, it's a really good time. And I want to invite everyone, even if you don't believe in psychics, still come and join us. I promise it's going to be a lot of fun. And all that good stuff. I'm seeing from Nick that Nick is saying that I missed his member chat. I'm trying to get it, Nick. Hang on one second. The problem is that member chats don't actually sync with StreamYard, so I didn't see it. So Nick, for his 6-month member chat, thank you for being a member of the channel for 6 months, Nick. He says, if you're good at something, you don't do it for free. Wise words from the Joker. I do appreciate that. And what Nick is referencing, guys, is that I have decided to make my main Substack behind a paywall. What I'm going to be doing with my main Substack, which is Carlyn, Karlyn, is I deliver you original journalism. I deliver you curated content about what's going on in the world. I explain things. I break them down in plain English. The problem that I've had lately is that people are stealing my work, and I'm tired of it. And so, sadly for some, but happily for others, if you do want to continue to get the full benefit of my Substack, you do need to sign up for a membership. It's $5 a month, $50 a year. What's going to and if you're already a member of my locals or my Patreon, a paid member, you're going to get the content as well. I'm going to put it out. Like, you don't need to sign up on 2 different platforms. If you're already on locals, you're going to get the content. If you're already on Patreon, you're going to get the content. But basically what it is when I send stuff out, you're going to get a preview of the article. I'm going to explain what's in it. I'm going to explain what you get out of it. And then you get to decide if you want to sign up for a paid membership or not. I really hope you do. This is going to cut down on people stealing my work without paying for it and not giving me credit when it's reported on major media networks that should damn well effing know better, or at least do their own original journalism so they don't have to steal mine. But that's what's going on. I will be sending some stuff out in a little bit. Guys, I will see you in about a little over 2 hours for nothing remotely controversial. I hope you come hang out with us. And that's all I've got for right now. Take care, guys, and we'll see you soon.